All right, let's talk about a feature that's going to seriously change the way you work with your AI coding assistant. I'm talking about Claude Code skills. We're going way beyond just simple prompts here. We're going to teach Claude your specific workflows, automate all that repetitive stuff, and let you get back to the work that actually matters. Let's dive in. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. Think about it for a sec. Every single time you have to re-explain your team's coding standards or reminds Claude how you want your PR feedback to look, well, that's a total drag. It's a little bit of friction that, when you add it up over a week or a month, becomes a huge waste of time. And that is the exact problem skills are here to solve. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll really nail down this problem of repetition. Then, we'll introduce skills as the perfect solution. And then, this is the best part, we're going to get our hands dirty and build a skill from scratch, step by step. We'll even cover where to keep them, how they stack up against other tools, and then send you off ready to build your own. Okay, let's just be real about this problem. It's that mental drain, right? That nagging little task of giving Claude the same context over and over and over again. Every time you have to do that, it yanks you right out of the zone, right out of your flow state, and breaks your focus on the actual interesting problem you're trying to solve. I mean, does any of this look familiar? I bet it does. Maybe you've got a super specific way you write your commit messages. Or maybe you have this personal checklist you always run through when you're hunting down a bug in a component. Every single one of these is a perfect candidate for a skill. The cool thing is, you've already done the hard work of figuring this stuff out. Now we're just going to make it permanent. And this, my friends, is where Claude Code skills come in to save the day. The best way to think about this is like you're building a custom plugin for Claude's brain. You're literally encoding your own expertise, your own preferences into a little package that Claude can just grab and use automatically whenever it needs it. So what is this magical thing called a skill? Well, you're going to love this. At its heart, it's just a markdown file. Seriously, that's it. Inside that file, you just drop in all the instructions and guidelines that teach Claude how to do one specific thing your way. The real magic, though, is how Claude figures out when to use it. And what's so cool is how smart and efficient the system is. It's a simple 3-step process. First, you just ask for something, like, hey, review this PR. Then, behind the scenes, Claude does a lightning-fast scan of just the descriptions of all the skills it knows about. And notice, it's not reading the whole file, just the headlines. And finally, it finds the best match, and only then does it pull in that skill's full instructions to get the job done. It's totally automatic and super fast. All right, enough theory. Theory's great, but let's actually build something. It's time to get our hands dirty and create a skill right here from scratch. This is where you're going to have that aha moment and see just how simple and powerful this whole idea is. Let's make a skill for reviewing pull requests. First things first, don't let this intimidate you. A skill is nothing more than a simple text file. That's it. It has a specific name, skill.md, all caps. This file is just the container for your instructions, and it's written in Markdown, which you're probably already using all day long. So where does this file go? Well, it lives inside a folder that actually gives the skill its name. So in our case, we're making a PR review skill. So you guessed it, we create a PR review folder. That folder lives inside a .claude/skills directory, right in your home folder. This simple structure keeps all your skills perfectly organized. Now let's open up that skmd file. The very first thing at the top of the file needs to be a little block of what's called YAML front matter. If you've ever used a static site generator like Jekyll, this will look super familiar. You just need 2 things in here: a name, which has to match the folder name, and a description. And that description, oh man, that's the secret sauce. I really want you to focus on this because the description field is everything. It's the trigger. This one sentence is what Claude's matching system reads to decide, hey, is this skill the right tool for the job right now? You want to make it concise, but packed with keywords that describe the task. Think of it like you're doing SEO for your own personal AI assistant. So let's imagine you type this into your terminal. You're asking Claude for help. You've used keywords like review and PR. Instantly, Claude's pattern-matching brain starts whirring, looking for a skill that can help. And bam, there it is. Claude sees your request, scans its library of skill descriptions, and sees ours, which contains reviews pull requests and reviewing PRs. It immediately makes the connection and says, aha, I know exactly what to do. And just like that, the skill is activated. This is why spending a few extra seconds on a good description is so worth it. So what goes underneath that front matter?
Well, this is your playground. This is where you put the actual skill, the brain dump of your process. Since it's just standard markdown, you can go nuts. Write out a super detailed checklist. Tell it to format the feedback in a table. Remind it about your team's very specific style guide. This is your chance to write the perfect one-time instruction manual for this task.
Okay, so we know how to build a skill. Now we have to answer the next big question. Where should it live? And this isn't just about keeping things tidy. It actually has a huge impact on who can use this skill and when. You basically have two choices here, personal or project. Personal skills live in that .claude/skills folder in your home directory. Think of these as your secret weapons. They're all about your personal workflow, and they follow you to any project you're working on. Then you have project skills. These live in a .claude/skills folder right inside your project's repository. You check them into Git, so everyone who clones the repo gets them automatically. This is perfect for team-wide rules. Now, skills are incredibly powerful, for sure, but they aren't the only customization tool you have. To really become a Claude power user, you need to know when a skill is the right choice and when you should be reaching for something else, like the claude.md file or a / command. Let's break it down really quick. Think of Claude.md as your always-on file for global instructions that should apply to absolutely everything. Then you have skills. They're automatic, but smart enough to only load on demand when they're needed for a specific task. And finally, you have / commands. These are for when you want to be in charge and manually trigger a quick one-off action. Choosing the right tool for the job is what really unlocks an efficient workflow. We've covered the why, the what, and the how. But honestly, none of that matters if you don't actually put it into practice. So now it's your turn. It's time to figure out what your first skill is going to be. No, seriously, take a second and think. What was the last thing you had to copy and paste into a prompt? Was it that list of rules for generating test cases? A template for creating a new component? Whatever just popped in your head, that is your first skill. It's hiding in plain sight. And now, let's think even bigger. Think about your team. What's that one process that new developers always get tripped up on? That set of CSS brand guidelines that everyone forgets? Imagine encoding that into a project skill. You're not just saving yourself time, you're making the entire team more consistent and efficient. So here's the bottom line. That nagging, repetitive task that's been driving you crazy, that's not a chore anymore. It's your first skill, just waiting for you to build it. You now have the knowledge and the framework to capture it, automate it, and get back to solving much more interesting problems. So what are you waiting for? Go build it.